Good morning. I would like to begin this morning by thanking Wayne Thush for offering a wonderful Thanksgiving message last week. Thanksgiving, thanks for giving, and thanks for forgiving. What a marvelous way to look at this time of gratitude. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. As I spoke with people on the phone, family and friends, over these last 3 or 4 days, they all expressed having a nice Thanksgiving, but most of them added a caveat. But I couldn't be with my sister, and I couldn't be with my uncles and my aunts and my mom, and some of the kids couldn't come. And trying times. I want to ask you a question. When do you think, or do you believe, that times are going to get better? Life is going to get better. Well, I'm going to offer an opinion this morning. They aren't. Life has been going on for billions and millions and tens and hundreds of thousands of years. And for the last 10, 20,000 years, life for humans has been pretty much the same. Every kind of experience you can imagine is out there. There's been diseases and wars and empathy and loving and nurturing and hatred and greed and gratitude and generosity. It's been going on for a long, long, long time. What's different, why life seems so not very good, is our perception of life. Our take on life, our opinion, our beliefs about life. You know, Joseph Campbell said that what most humans crave is to experience being alive. And as I've contemplated that statement, I think maybe that's why people enjoy skydiving or riding the extreme roller coasters or deep sea diving. Because for that little bit of time, they've slipped the surly bonds of sociological restraint, and they're alive. I know when I was younger, I used to rodeo, and for that 8 seconds, when that horse or that bull came out of that chute, I experienced something that's not describable in words, but for those 8 seconds, I was alive. Totally unrestricted, alive. Had a lot of broken bones, but at the time I thought that was worth that 8 seconds of being alive. Okay, kids, cover your ears. Many people have experienced times in their lives where they've experienced totally uninhibited erotic, consensual, and sexual practices, experiences, where they felt totally uninhibited and alive. And I think that might be why the porn industry does so well, so profitable, because people want to experience that, even vicariously. Now, the things that I've mentioned up to this point, rodeoing and skydiving and roller coasters and bungee jumping, things like that, pretty much the extreme. And there will always be, always have been, what we tend to call adrenaline junkies. The love, the extreme, it makes them feel alive. But most of us don't live in the extreme. But I don't think it changes the fact that we still long for that feeling of being alive. And I've tried to figure out a way to, describe that or define that. And an example came to mind, a perfect example. And there's not many things in this life that are perfect, but this, I think, is a perfect example. I have many, many, many times watched Gene Wallace come all the way from Grayton here to Church of the Oaks and work in our flower gardens and on the grounds. And she waters our plants and feeds them and trims them, changes them around, plants new ones, takes out old ones, and nurtures and loves them. And I believe with everything that within me, when she is doing that, she is experiencing being alive. I've seen her in the summertime, perspiration down the back of her blouse, dripping on her nose and her forehead. I've seen her in the cold weather with a runny nose and her hands and her face bright red from the chill. And she's humming or smiling or totally engaged in being alive by nurturing and caring and giving of herself. I wish we could all find that experience in our lives where we nurture and care and give of ourselves and give and receive the satisfaction of being alive. This virus has been going on 9-10 months now. And sure, I don't like wearing a mask. It's inconvenient. But I don't like cauliflower or broccoli either, or Brussels sprouts. I don't like having a migraine headache, but that's all part of being alive. And I could perceive that as right now these times being a horrible life, but I don't. As I pondered this time of Thanksgiving, I can't imagine having a more wonderful life than the life I have now. I've got restrictions like we all do, but I've got joys and I've got fulfillment. I have the best job in the world. During this virus, we've all been faced with adversity and inconvenience, mostly fear. the unknown. And my hope for all of us is that we can transcend that fear. Be cautious. Be responsible. Do what we can to stop the spread of this virus. But the virus will end. Those days will pass. They've come and gone. I remember when I was a youngster, I couldn't go swimming in a public place because my parents believed that's where polio was spread the most. Until about a year after we had the magic polio vaccine. And most of America now doesn't remember polio. Most of the people who had polio now are in their 60s or 70s or 80s or have passed. But that was a scary thing back in the 40s and the 50s. But that passed. Life stayed the same. Life was full of experiences, full of abundance, full of the pain and the pleasure, full of the disappointment and the exultation. But I hope if nothing else, that we have been able to transform over these last 10 months, to sit and ponder and think what truly is of value in our lives. What do we truly value? What do we consider satisfaction, joy, happiness, success? And I think if we really consider and think about it, we'll come up with what all the psychologists have said for decades, that true joy, true fulfillment, true satisfaction, happiness comes from the value we place on the relationships we have with other life forms, with other human beings. Gene's case, it's nature, the living plants. Neil deGrasse Tyson says he encourages everyone to go outside once a day and take in the universe. Maybe at night where we can see the stars. Maybe in the day we can see the clouds, the trees and the breeze and the plants and people, and watch them as they interact. Become attached, connected, have a relationship with the universe. Have relationship with each other. That's the thing that's lacking most in our country right now. You know, we hear a lot about the division. I've said this is the most divided time that this country has seen since the Civil War, perhaps. Maybe since the 60s. But on the other side of that coin, I don't think there's ever been a time when our society, when humans have come together with all the tragedies going on, the fires and the virus and the floods and the hurricanes, and they've come together to have relationship with one another, to extend their caring and their empathy and their compassion. It's all in how you look at it. When the firefighters come to Sonoma County because half the county's on fire, do we ask them who they voted for? When people are lined up at the shelters to get food and blankets, do we ask them, are they Republican or Democrat? No, they're human beings. I am so thankful to be alive. And I can see and experience and feel the love that human beings are showing to each other. Ever since there's been life, there's been hatred, war, and grief, and love and caring. Whatever you look for, my friends, you will find. And if you look for reasons to be afraid, there's a million of them. And if you look for reasons to show compassion and empathy to other human beings, there's 7.5 billion of them. Plenty of opportunity. It's all about what brings you a sense of worth, a sense of purpose, satisfaction, a reason for being. I hope that all of us can be truly thankful. And I hope all of us can be thankful that we're learning about giving, that we're learning about when we share, whatever it is we share, we open up the flow of abundance of whatever it is we're sharing into our own lives. And not only that, we get a feeling of satisfaction. And I hope that we can all be grateful that we can find ways to forgive others and ourselves. That blocks so much goodness and so much happiness from our lives. When will life get better? Whenever you think it does, whenever you believe it does, whenever you feel it does. And so it is.